Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we're playing another Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. This one is a community cast sent in by Faust. Thank you, Faust. And it's a cool one. So it's Empire against the Vampire Coast, which can go either way, to be honest. I really think it's difficult to call. Sort of initially in any battle between these two, it can be really neck and neck most of the time. So you can see spearmen in the front line, not with the shields, which is bold move. I think the shields can go a long way. I mean, you don't really want to be shooting at the spearmen, but they're probably going to take some flack from, you know, all the gunnery mobs and everything else. Also, the extra melee defense given by the, you know, spearmen with shields over the usual spearman variant is pretty good. But if he really wants to make his unit stretch, then yeah, fair enough. Maybe it is worth getting just a load of spearmen in. Actually, the spearmen with shields could probably be at the back, and the spearmen without could be, well, no, swap them around, I mean. You know, the shields could be in the front, and non-shields could be in the back. Because then it's just sort of like, there's not as much. It's probably just zombie summons, right? You don't really need that defense against all the guns, because they're not going to summon a load of guns back here. I mean, the gunnery mob, sure, but that's a long way to summon. So I think if they're able to summon things on top of this, you're in trouble already. So, you know, it's fine. Anyway, there's also Voltmar. Voltmar, fantastic in this matchup. I really like him. You know, fire and magic damage. Really good. Great insurance against ethereals. He's got some really nice buffs. He regenerates, which is really good. He just has a lot going for him. Also, a Bright Wizard. Law of Fire, always handy. Again, ethereals won't stand a chance with the Flaming Sword of Ruin knocking around. But also, those fireballs are really good for sniping out sort of characters, which is really nice. And if you shoot a fireball down the line, you can get a lot of damage into Depth Guard and things like that that are often a problem. So, very useful there. He's also got the Sigmar's Sons, which of course are unbreakable, which is very handy in a match like this with all the fear and terror and just overwhelming numbers. So just having a very reliable unit swordsman like that is great. There's also some great swords that, yeah, they're not unbreakable, but they have a lot more killing power. Let's be honest, an awful lot more killing power. So they're going to be really handy at chopping through a load of the infantry. Also, silver bullets. Really nice to have some magic damage and guns and armor piercing. Just, yeah, all round very, very punchy unit. There's also the Hammer of the Witches. Again, magic damage as well. A lot of magic damage in here, which a lot of it isn't totally necessary, but, I mean, may as well have it, right? It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Also, more great cannons. So these guys, the Hammer of the Witches especially, is so accurate. It's really good for sniping out enemy artillery. So if they had a load of carronades, it would do a fine job. But that's not the whole army. No, there's shenanigans. Lovely. Sterling's Revenge also has 2 units of free company. A few chevrons in them as well. Another unit there, so that's 3 units of free company and the Sterling's Revenge Regiment and free company. Also Zintler's Rights Guard in the back. So really, really good force back here. Now his opponent. You can see he's got a couple of deck gunners. Deck gunners, they can get some really good work done, you know, with Shield Breaker. And just, they hit really hard. They're really good at sniping out characters. They're very good at that. But, I don't know, I find them a bit unreliable. Sometimes they work great, sometimes they don't. But maybe that's just me. Also, though, some Depth Guard. Depth Guard are super lethal, but of course have to watch out for the guns. But luckily, there is enough fodder to get in the way of things. There's also some gunnery mobs kicking around, pole arms, a Morngul Haunter. That could be a problem if he's used correctly. Also, Noctilus. Noctilus is definitely the competitive pick. And there is Fellbats as well, good for jumping on top of artillery. Also, way in the back, there's a couple of units of Scurvy Dogs. Scurvy Dogs are a right nuisance for getting on top of any artillery. So, speeding things up, you can see everybody is starting to engage. And also, one thing that's quite cool, he's got the black spot as well. It's almost like he assumed there'd be cavalry around, because they've got great armor piercing, but they've also got anti-large and armor piercing in melee. So, I kind of like that. I like that. So anyway, over here. Now, this is interesting. So the hounds are coming in, but the heroes are here. The heroes are here, so Voltmar's chasing them down, which I think is pretty funny. Looks like they're making a beeline for the Bright Wizard, though. And this formation is, well, it's interesting. I'll give it that. But load of cannon fire coming in. A load of gunfire, taking out those Fellbats nice and early. And yeah, that's not ideal. That's not ideal. You want them to come in with the rest of the army, so that way this stuff is too busy to, you know, retaliate. Or you just send it straight at the cannon and hope that you can keep them busy for a volley or two. But anyway, more units running in. But you can see the Depth Guard have taken a lot of punishment. They're taking a lot of damage from the guns, which is pretty handy. Because usually you go for sort of enemy artillery, right? So things like the deck gunners that are pretty good, you know, in the right circumstances. You know, good armor piercing, they can be a bit of a problem. But he's got all this Vanguard stuff back here, so he knows he can polish them off really easily. What he needs is to make sure there's not a huge amount of killing power hitting his front line before his back line, well, his Vanguard forces, can actually catch up. So he needs to do what damage he can to the Depth Guard. They are the biggest threats right now. And it looks like he's getting considerable damage in there. Look at that. More than half of them gone. So, over here, Hounds still being a problem. These scurvy dogs are, yeah, they're a real nuisance. They're a real nuisance. So, that means he's using them correctly. That simple. So, deck gunners are shooting into the spearmen. Spearmen, I mean, they're not the best target, but it's good to soften stuff up. I mean, if they take some damage, they're more likely to break sooner once they are in combat with everything else. So, may as well start whittling them down. You know, let the numbers count. Take out the weaker units. It can be very, very helpful. So, over here, huge amount of gunfire into Noctilus, but now there's some deck cannon bombs. Yeah, so the silver bullets are having to run back, which is very annoying. So over here, Voltmar's having to charge in, and we're going to see a Wraith Storm used on this Bright Wizard, which is a good call. You really want to take out that Bright Wizard early. You know, if you can kill a Spellcaster nice and quickly, then yeah, you're in the money. So, units are pulling back to try and keep units closer together, which I think is a good call. There's no big AoE damage that's going to, come out from this army, so you may as well take more advantage of Voltmar's buffs by having your line closer together. So anyway, Great Swords fighting Depth Guard, which can be a bit of a problem. Depth Guard are more expensive, they hit very hard, but Great Swords have some good armour, and they've got the anti-infantry, so it's pretty neck and neck between these two. But now, with some buffs, this is certainly going to help. So with the Grand Hammer Sigmar, they have a lot of melee attack at 58, which is pretty lovely. Now though, the Mongol Haunter, he's in range to get spotted, because of course he does stalk. So now the cannons are shooting at him. And he does have a lot of missile resistance, but just the huge amount of cannon fire that's hitting him, it will add up. It will add up pretty quickly. So, Mongol is crawling into battle. Ugh. So unsettling. Anyway, all these units are charging in now, which is good news. So these deck guns had been shot up a bit, and these deck gunners have been caught out by the Zenith's Reichsguard and crumble in seconds. Now, these Reichsguard can start charging to the rear of these things. And that would be very, very handy, because all of these things seem to be winning the engagement. In the middle, it's not looking particularly good for the Vampire Coast, but over here, it's looking pretty damn good. Yeah, with Noctilus in here, and the injured Depth Guard fighting something that doesn't have a lot of killing power, but is unbreakable. Doesn't matter, they'll hold this stuff at bay for a while, but the Depth Guard can heal through any damage they might take, because they're not taking much damage from Sigmar Suns. So that's kind of iffy, and the Spearmen are almost gone, and there's just hordes of zombies here that'll be able to flood in once this stuff is dealt with. So over here, beautiful fireball, finishes off that Mongol. That Mongol did not last. Here though, Hammer of the Witches has been broken. The Hounds have all charged in, and you can see the Bright Wizard is caught up in this fight. And he's not great in melee, you don't want him fighting huge units, and with zombies over here, these Spearmen have had to react, which means this cannon crew has to sit idle and wait for this to be cleared. That's going to take hours for the Spearmen to actually clear. And more zombies coming in. Real problem. Here you can see the silver bullets, they're part of the front line now. There's too many zombies that everything is pouring in. Everything is pinned down right now. But Zenith's Reichsguard doing a fine job. They're on 43 kills already, which is pretty nice, and beautiful rear charges into these very tough units. That is going to give the Great Swords the edge in this engagement, you know? That shock damage is very vital. Over here, though, another Wraith Storm on the Bright Wizard, and he looks soon to rout, which is very bad. You really want to keep those spellcasters going. So, Flaming Sword of Ruin, just a clutch last spell before he gets surrounded and routs. So, worthwhile. So, 53 kills for Zenith's Reichsguard, but you can see these Depth Guard are really starting to suffer now, which is really good news. And these Free Company firing into the back, more summons have been keeping them at bay, which is a great move by the Vampire Coast. So right now, I'd say things are looking a bit grim for the Empire. You know, this flank has completely collapsed. Hammer of the Witches can't be online. Great Cannon can't be online. There's still some Scurvy Dogs that could actually chase them off. But all of this stuff is breaking. Over here, these Spearmen are breaking. It's just going to be the Sigmar Suns left. And at that point, you can pretty much just leave some zombies on them and send the Depth Guard in here to fight instead. The Zenith's Reichsguard are getting a lot of work done, and there is a lot of gunfire back here, a lot of damage potential. And a lot of this stuff doesn't have any armor, so even just standard Free Companies can be able to kill a lot of this stuff, provided they can keep a nice safe distance. So over here you can see Free Company Militia are actually charging to melee, trying to pin all this stuff down. I mean, the black spot, yeah, they got the anti-large and the armor piercing, but it doesn't really matter against a Free Company, right? So they're kind of losing that ability. It's not very cost effective for them to be fighting Free Company, because Free Company are alright in melee. You know, they got better melee stats than all of the zombie units do. So getting them stuck in is not too bad an idea if it stops these guys from firing. So Zenith's Right Guard being kept very busy right now, 94 kills. But you can see that Voltmar is he's in a bit of trouble. He did get chased off, and you can see a Wraith Storm is about to hit him, which is not ideal. Over here, Great Cannon trying to find a way back in, but he's not going to find a way back in. Hammer of the Witch is broken. Still, the bullet's broken. These spearmen are still going, just about. But that's about it. Zenith's Right Guard just having to work so hard. They are having to work so hard. And you can see even some of the Free Company are looking like they're going to break. Here, though, Stern's Revenge, they're moving in to get some shots in from a different angle. And some units are returning, including Greatswords, which is good news. Over here, though, yeah, some units are coming back. Voltmar is very injured, but they're still useful. They are definitely still useful. So, a lot of zombies left. And Noctilu's still pretty healthy. Still pretty healthy. So he's coming in to fight Stern's Revenge to stop them from being able to fire into things. So worth trying to stop them, and the zombie summons are coming in to help him out. So the zombie summons will keep these guys at bay, while Noctilus just cleaves through them. He can kill them quite happily, to be honest. So over here you can see Free Company are holding on, and other Free Company are firing in. I mean, these guys have pretty terrible combat stats, and they have no armor. So all of this gunfire is going to help really well, while the Free Company can keep them at bay for a long time. That 14 melee attack is pretty pathetic, but then I guess so is the 29 melee defense. It's not particularly good either, but it's still better. So this is going alright. Great Swords charging in now as well, and it does look like the Deckhand mob have managed to make it in here, but getting sandwiched by the Free Company militia, their leadership is not going to be able to handle this. And so now, Zenith's Right Guard, they're going to charge in this way, try and bail out these spearmen. But as you can see, all of these units have just abandoned these last 7 Signal Suns. There's no point having 3 units fighting just these 7 guys. So now these guys are all charging in, and the spearmen look like they're going to run. So this is getting wrapped up. I don't think those deckhands are going to stay around for much longer. Neither of these polearms, which is good news, but this is still dangerous, and this is still dangerous. So that's not ideal. Voltmar has charged in, but right now he is the only person in this fight. So he's hitting them with, well, he's used every ability. He's used every single one. He used the Grand Shield of Faith, the Grand Hammer of Sigmar. That's only buffing him, though, in this case, which is sort of sad. But he did hit them with the Grand Soulfire, and that has done some good damage, and it's kept them busy. It's kept them busy, and all of these guns are just firing into these units. So they're taking a lot of damage for not a huge amount of gain. Voltmar can afford to take quite a bit more damage, you know? He's got regen, so as long as he can keep this stuff busy, he's not going to be breaking or anything, so it's fine, you know, it's fine. So he's running in again, although saying that, he does only have 50 armor when he's on this horse, and that's not a lot when you're against 70 weapon strength, which is ludicrous. As compared to them, 40 for Cavalry? No, they have 70. It's nuts. So anyway, nice rear charge. So Zenith's Right Guard getting some really good work done. Over 150 kills now. Almost, yeah, over 160 soon? Yeah, there we go, 160. Amazing. So Voltmar's keeping this stuff busy, and now things are starting to crumble. Noctilus, he's still pretty healthy, but he's run out of troops. He's run out of troops. Finally, all those little mobs of zombies have been taken out, and a lot of that was thanks to the Free Company being able to get some good damage in. And I think most of it was the Zenith's Right Guard, being able to get those rear charges. What he didn't kill, it was the leadership damage that allowed other units to win those little engagements. So Zenith's Right Guard, super useful in here. 175 kills, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So these last units are getting polished off. Wonderful. I think I said wonderful already. Anyway, it's a great fight. It's a great fight. This looked really bad. It looked like most of the Empire units had, had run. They just cut the losses and got out of here there. But no, they rallied. And this is overwhelming. This is overwhelming. There's just nothing that can pin this stuff down at this point of the battle. So there, Noctilus calls it quits. So yeah, really great fight. I really enjoyed this one. I just love seeing Zenith's Right Guard used effectively. Because, I mean, sometimes, they'll be put in the back and the battle's decided before they get into the fight. Before they reach the front line. Other times, they just sort of run in immediately. They just run straight into artillery. Everything just turns around, wipes them out, and then they get on with the battle. So they don't really gain a lot. But here, just letting those front lines engage and having this cavalry turn up, completely unprepared, opponent not having stuff in the rear to try and ward off things like this is really interesting to see. I mean, yeah, he did have the black spot, but he wasn't able to really make a lot of use out of him. They're very slow. It's really just helpful if they're getting attacked by cavalry, but as long as you're not attacking them, it's very difficult for them to really really do any damage in melee. Sure, they got the guns, but when there's other units in the back, like the Free Company, able to bog them down, suddenly you get a lot of use out of the Zilla's Rights Guard, which is great. But just hundreds of kills across the board here, which is very, very impressive. So absolutely wonderful to see. So Faust, thanks for sending this in. And guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.